and doing something a little different. The last time I was here, we did the soundscape. How many of you were here for that sound experience? And we might be doing another special sound something or other sometime this summer. And I'm happy to talk about it. There's some posters back there. But this is more like our waterscape today. So some of you know that I've had a shamanic practice for about 20 years. What's that mean? That just means I have a lot of different tools to tap into consciousness in ways that give me access to what's called non-ordinary reality. It's just another way. It's not. Is it that different from meditation? Could be. I just have different tools. But I'm tuning into the same source. I'm tuning into the same field of information. I'm tuning in. I just have different ways to get there. Different things I can do with that information. So since about 2018, the end of 2017, early 2018, I've been able to write down conversations and information and messages I get in conversation with my spirit helpers, my spirit guides, source, ancestors of the past, ancestors of the future. And I just writing them down like little journal things, half a page or a page. And about 2 years ago, during COVID, I got the impulse and started getting the urge and the messages, like, maybe share some of this stuff. Most of it's for me, right? So I compiled them all from 2018 to 2021, and I started saying, well, what do I got here? And I started organizing them like by topic and sort of sorting through, and I would say 2/3 of it is just for me in my personal life, but 1/3 of it's kind of interesting. And I want to share some of that with you, because I'm going to get it out there wildly, hopefully, maybe in a book this fall. So you're the first people that I'm actually, besides a couple friends I've shared a couple pieces with, that I'm actually sharing it with. So please hold this invitation in your heart. I welcome your feedback. I really would love your candid reactions after the service, but I'm just so excited to share this with you. And what it is an invitation to try on a different lens today for the next 20 minutes or 25 minutes or so. Just try on a different hat or a different pair of glasses. Put your normal things aside a little bit, and I'm going to share some thoughts, a story, and then an experience. Because that's what I usually do when I'm up here, right? I share an experience. Okay, so back in the very beginning, when I started writing things down on my laptop, one of the very first things that came to me was this idea that we're like fish, and we don't know the water we swim in. It looks like empty. We think this is empty space and air and breath and all that, right? We think we know we're form, we're objects inside this empty space. And we all know that's not really the case. We talk about it in our service today, right? The cells that, are helping create our experience, the thoughts, right? But like fish, unless we're out of the water and experience the air and jump out for some reason, we probably don't know, oh, there's something different. And when you go back in the water, I imagine if I were a fish, I'd be like, oh, maybe that's what wet is, right? But you wouldn't know if that's your daily, if you didn't have any contrast. Well, we're not fish, so we can create our own contrast. But that idea that the water we swim in, we take for granted, I would like to invite you to consider that the water we swim in is actually not just a field of energy, but a substance. So let me start to share with you some of the writings that started in 2018. Good morning. The water we swim in, we're surrounded by information, surrounded by love and life and people. We have all we could desire or need at our ready for painting the world, so to speak, with our soul, our beauty, our love. Paint, radiate, create, manifest. This is a world full of life and power and creation, abundance. No scarcity, no lack, but also no supply. It gets created as we desire and as we need it. As we create, it gets manifested. non-stop, all the time, from our attention, which is like the idea of frequency, or maybe like the idea of law of attraction. The mechanism doesn't really matter. That's for somebody else to figure that out. Hopefully scientists, right? It's a gift. Our experience is a field. We are a field. And in that field is a body, physicality, emotions, mental capacities, spiritual capacities, but not just spiritual, with our current beliefs and journeys and experiences, and our paths and our spiritual meaning of the invisible world, the other realm, the hidden, meant to be found parts of our field. This field is co-created with others, not just people, but nature. It's affected by our feelings. It's affected by, this is, if you think of it as water, a field of water. It's affected by our feelings and by our beliefs, by the beliefs and feelings of others. In other words, our culture. This all affects the field, our field. It isn't like we have a bunch of circular fields, for example, all overlapping. It could be like that. Like concentric circles from multiple pebbles on a lake. But I'd like to invite you to consider that you are the lake. We are the lake. Not just a wave on the ocean, but the ocean. So that song that you guys just sang was so perfect, right? I'm water, I'm going down the mountain, I'm going into a canyon, I'm going out to the sea. We are the sea, we are the lake. Your experience is a pebble. And I brought some examples here. All right, so if my experience is a pebble, do I want a nice, symmetrical, round, smooth pebble? Sometimes I certainly would like that, right? How often is this reality though, right? How often is, today is this round, smooth pebble. I love those days. Sometimes they're the opposite of that. This is a jaggiest rock I had handy. It's not symmetrical, it's sharp and jagged. It's got a lot of color. It's got a lot of sparkle, but it's not that comfortable. But some days, some experiences are like that. So for my prop today, I'm using this one. It's rounded, kind of looks like a little kidney, right? It's got some color, it's not perfect. It's got some rough spots. So this is our prop. So imagine that this pebble is your experience. We toss it into the lake, which is us, and we experience this pebble. And others experience it too, through those ripples. But we are the lake. We are the substance that manifests in the ripples. We are part of the lake in consciousness, which also has this material quality to it, this manifestation, substance, more form-like quality to it, that we can experience when we make a pebble of experience and drop it into the lake, which is us. So this is how it works. This is like the basic concept I've played with and tried to understand for, 5 years or so. But this substance, this water we swim in, is the field of potentiality. The things in it change with the pebble and the pebble's point of view. That is all part of our experience. In the form of a person, we are extending our, let's call it, pebble experience. Imagine the lake being water, like we're looking through an aquarium window. How many of you been to a big aquarium and you can stand, you can like stand in it and pretend you're swimming, right? Like it becomes an opening into another world, and you can see down, you can see up. So imagine you're looking through an aquarium window. Maybe it's a little one on your counter. And so it's not just the surface of the water where the ripples are going on, it's deep and down into the water. It's the currents that are inside this deep water. So we create our experience in the limitless depths of the substance, the water. Some ripples touch and some don't. So we can visualize the pebbles and the ripples we create in what we call a lifetime. And now we can see that experiences impact the quality of the substance. Not that the substance has changed, so we will drop this in, we're having an experience. It's not just about the ripples and the currents. It's about sharing the experience with the substance. The lovingness and the beauty qualities of the experience, or the ugly and dark parts of the experience. They all infuse, they infuse the water. It's all transmutable. Like water, it can be changed again and again. It's all water. It's all energy. And it just changes form. There's no good or bad, or positive or negative. That's a quality in our collective experience. There's not any real time either. That's a quality of our collective experience. You can see how the collective sets up an area of qualities in that substance. You're looking through the aquarium window. And then our pebbles of experience have that context, are surrounded by it. And that is the context that our experience is in. The substance is the substance of the universe. It's a creative force. It's the energy soup we call our life. And it holds our experience as we view it from the pebble perspective. So this is us, we're the pebble, we're creating ripples at the surface and underneath, and we're coloring or toning or tuning or adding our frequency to all of that water, all of that substance. So this is how I've been understanding that, well, if this were a great metaphor, if this were a good image, what would that mean? What does that mean? This is a substance. The substance has a quality of, what's it made of? Non-judgmental love, non-expectation, just holding and allowing in love, allowing my pebble to do its thing in love. This is the principle that underlies the substance. So if we desire uplifting and positive and loving experience, we can connect with the underlying principle of allowing and loving in this field. This will amplify and bring that quality in the substance that we can experience, and our experience is connected to others. Some of our ripples touch. Some of them touch a lot. We affect the qualities available in the substance. In this way, we can make qualities available in nearby experiences. So when we're doing our meditation and we invite in the names of others to experience kind of where we are, we could think of that as, we've kind of conditioned our area, the substance here, like ink and water. And now we're inviting others to go for a swim in our water, or make their ripples in our water, or move their pebble over into our part of the substance. So we can influence other people's pebble experiences. We can influence other ripples. And that area of the substance begins to take on and shift and adjust frequency so the context actually changes, making those qualities available to all who swim there. And it spreads the substance, similar to ink and water, and we can feel the changes in the qualities. So that's kind of big, heady stuff. We definitely need the deeper dive after this, Gaines, right? Down the hall, right after the service, there's a time to go deeper into this if this lens sparks your imagination. But now let me tell you a story. So about 2 years ago, while I was finishing the first year of my seminary program, I was at the beach. How many of you go to the beach? I can't remember what beach it was, right? On the Atlantic Ocean, by the intercoastal waterway there. And I was just, we did a lot of meditation and I had a lot of deep awakenings and new awarenesses. So here's a story that I wrote. After a silent swim with the pool to myself and watching the clouds and the rain clouds pass over me and feeling the drizzle on my way back, and noticing the colors and textures of the grasses in the marsh. I was feeling reconnected, out of my head, out of my box, and my preconceived cultural perspective and view of how things worked was dissolving. And I had this realization, I can see. I was like the fish that jumped out of the water for a little while, right? I was trying on a different lens. And I likened it to a diver's bell helmet. You know those old-fashioned divers, or maybe they do this today. Remember you see those big brass heads and the dry suit, and then there's like a hose that goes up to a boat on the surface that pumps the air down. Like I think of that as like an old-fashioned guy with weights on his boots, on the bottom of the ocean, walking and breathing. He's totally protected. He's surrounded by air, but in this heavy suit. So I thought I put that over my entire head and body and imagined going through life thinking that, from the inside the bell, that is reality. When truly I can swim without my diver's bell at all. I can breathe, I can live, I can thrive, I can connect with others. Really, I have what I need already. I always have. I don't need the boat up there. I don't need the air connection that I have to pay for. All the stuff in the boat that I have to pay for. Someone to do all that for me to keep me alive down there that I have to depend on. Not that I want to be totally by myself, but it made me think about what are these relationships that are sustaining me here in my diving bell. That is a system that I was born and enculturated into. That's not the only way. And this diver's bell and the way I wear it can be very destructive to the environment and to the water itself and to the beings that are also sharing the water with me. So I could be traumatizing others and maybe even being harmful to myself too. Yet that's the way that some of us, and that's how I felt at the time, I'm in this diver, I'm not really experiencing the ocean, I'm looking through and I'm sort of experiencing, but I'm totally surrounded by air, up by people that are supporting me. If we fear the water, we will not dare leave our diving bells. Or can we? Can we? So later that day, after some more intensive work in seminary and some more meditation and things like, different experiences that we had, I could finally get out of the diving bell. I could experience my light body, my energetic anatomy, more energy than body, and a feeling like the energy of which I am is multiple flows. Independent of anatomy, to a great extent. To me, it felt like sensors. Like I was a bunch of sensors moving through space. I don't know if you've ever felt that, but that's what I felt like. It's like, I'm sort of a body, but I'm more like sensors that stick way out here, like antennas all over me. Like the fish with the spines, if those were antennas, that's what it felt like there, just for a few moments. It was really interesting. It felt like what I do when I do qi, gong in the morning, when I'm feeling the qi. That's what it felt like. I am moving and flowing and not just the physical body, is what I wrote. Then I could see a bird, so that I was outside, I could see a bird flying, and it seemed to me as a dynamic, spontaneous expression of the energy flows it is in relationship with, not an object in the sky, but it was an expression of the flows around it. Really, I was not on any drugs, okay? Like, this is my natural self, right? Just in case you were wondering, right? But what I was seeing was an expression of the bird, what I felt was the bird's soul and the elements and other lives all interacting dynamically to create the dance of the bird in each moment. It's like, oh, wow. This is how I want to be more often, I wrote. Dynamic, spontaneous expressions and flows in the moment in relationship to all relations and energies. Living beauty and love. Sharing expressions of loving substance Out of the diving bell of limited, false, untrue reality and capability, quite the opposite, free of the bell. And being a living expression in form and abilities with palettes that only I have, my unique instruments of expression, of divine loving substance, like the bird dancing with the wind and the sun and the water, insects, plants, clouds, shadow, and sound. And as if to confirm, at that moment, the most beautiful bird song I ever heard came from the marsh just feet away. When those things happen, I think, oh, I'll take that as confirmation. That's not my imagination that I'm feeling this way. So those are a few moments from my experience. And you thought we were just talking about fish and water. Yeah, right. All right, are you guys ready for an experience? Ready to see if you can have some experience of this substance or this field or something outside of what you might think of as a diving bell? Remember, this is an invitation to consider things in a different way or trying on a different hat. And I thank you for playing along. All right, get yourself comfortable in your chairs. Karen's going to accompany us here. And just follow my voice with the background of the piano. Unzip your personality self. Drop it to the floor like old clothes around you. Stand in your heart light. Focus your being in your heart. Let the mind go. Let go of worry, to-do lists, and chatter. Drop into a place where all of that just floats by you and leaves you undisturbed in your heart. Breathe there a few deep, slow breaths. Just be. If you can, try and sense the open, still place inside. Maybe it's a small opening at first. Maybe you can expand it in your imagination to fill your chest. Then expand it beyond your chest, into the horizon in front of you, into the horizon behind you, into the sky above you, and into the ground below your feet, and out the other side, into the sky below your feet. Feel it spread in all directions, around you as far as you can imagine. Now, with eyes closed or open, picture your loved one, a loved one. Just gaze upon them and notice. What do you notice? What does your body feel like? What do your emotions feel like? What does your mind notice? And can you sense a of collective consciousness. Can you sense where your ripples intersect with your loved one in your area of co-creation? Do you feel their field overlapping with yours? And also where it is its own beingness. Allow it all there. In your present moment. Hold it with love. Hold, allow, don't rush. Just breathe and hold the moment. Open your heart and your gaze to the other. Feel their breath. Hold gently with palms open. Allow. Accept. Love. That creative, evolutionary impulse. Express it for the love of your creations together. Your way of being together. Your co-creation of coherence. Of overlapping ripples in the substance that go out and out and co-create with others. Beam out your combined love. Beyond your own ripples. Charge the substance with your love, your coherence, your frequency, your impulse of creation. As far as your attention desires to go, as far as you can imagine it going. This truth, this peace, this is the source point, the potentiality, the choice point before the choice is even defined. This love. This is love. This is the place of source. Before choice, before creation, before the impulse goes out, before attention is directed, before desire is known, the spark before it is a spark. This is love. invite you to start to come back here with keep that sense of love. Ground yourself to the heart of the earth through your feet. Take a deep breath and open your eyes and wiggle your fingers and toes. And as you make your way back into this time and place, maybe even into the comfort of the diving bell, which is fine. I go there all the time. I'd like to share something that Lorraine Lewis sent to me when she saw the topic of this topic. I don't think she's here today. When she saw the topic of this talk, she sent me a little video from Thich Nhat Hanh that I'll use to wrap up this experience. And I thank you for playing along and listening to this, and I'm honored to share this with you, and I hope that you were able to experience a little bit of it, just a little drop of that water, of that substance. So Thich Nhat Hanh, let's bring it back home to reality here. This is what he said: you need other beings in order to be. Not only do you need father and mother, but also uncle, brother, sister, society. You also need sunshine, river, air, trees, birds, elephants, and so on. So it's impossible to be by yourself, alone. You have to interbe with everyone and everything else. You have to interbe with everyone and everything else. And therefore, to be means to interbe. Thank you for your attention this morning. Yeah.